Yeah, welcome everyone to my presentation. My name is Tobias Jeske and I will talk about floating car data from smartphones, what Google and Waze know about you, and how hackers can control traffic. Before we start, a few words about myself. So I've studied computer science and electrical engineering. I'm doing now my PhD in IT security at the Hamburg University of Technology, and you've probably noticed my strong accent, so I'm a German. I'm nearly finished with my PhD, so if you have a job offers or so, feel free to contact me. So this is the agenda of my talk. I first will give you an introduction, give you some background information about the Google protocol and Waze. Then I will talk about the protocol analysis I have done. So the starting point was this mobile phone here, the standard Android phone, and I've heard that this Android phones, they send the current position of this phone from time to time to the Google server, and I wanted to know how this works, concrete. I've also, at the bonus, I've also analyzed the Waze protocol. After I've analyzed the protocol, I have evaluated the protocol regarding the privacy and authenticity requirement. So if you look at this scenario, as a user, usually you have a strong interest in your privacy. You don't want that you can be tracked, for example, by Google. And if you look on the Google side, Google has an interest that it only gets correct data from smartphones. So you don't want, as Google, that someone sent you fake data. I've did this evaluation. And both requirements are not really fulfilled. So I've thought there could be a better way of doing it. So in the last part of my talk, I will give you a solution to this problem, hopefully a solution. So Today, if you have a navigation device, then probably it will receive traffic reports on the traffic message channel called TMC. So this TMC data is transmitted over a radio station. And so the main source of this traffic reports are the police. There are also some other sources. But it works so if there's an accident, a traffic jam somewhere, the police reports it to a TMC provider. The TMC provider forwards this information to the radio station, and then it's broadcast to all navigation devices. And then if your navigation devices receive such a message, it will calculate a detour. TMC is quite widespread. But often a problem is that these traffic reports are out of date. So I'm not driving so often, but once I made the experience. I was at night, I was on the highway, and I was nearly the only car on this highway, and my navigation system tries so that I take another route because it told me there's a traffic jam. Another problem is the low transfer rate. So you can only, transfer 16 bytes per second. In 2007, with two researchers, Andrea Barisiani and Daniele Bianco, they have shown how to counterfeit TMC messages. This was quite easy possible on the one hand side, because the TMC data is not transmitted encrypted. On the other side, you need special equipment for this attacks, and it only works locally. Google Live Traffic. In 2007, Google added Google Live Traffic to Google Maps. So Google Maps, you probably all know. If you open Google Maps on the right side, you can click on traffic information, and then all the roads are colored in red, green, and orange. So red means there's a traffic jam or heavy traffic, green means free roads, and orange is, there's something in between. I've already told you that the position data comes from smartphones with Android operating system, and it is real-time traffic information. This data is also called floating car data. And the next cool thing, in 2011, Google Live Traffic has been used to optimize the route calculations in Google Navigation. So you can see on the right-hand side, so there's a thread, there's a traffic jam. Then if you use Google Navigation to navigate, then Google Navigation will calculate a detour for you. Of course, this is a little bit bad example, but I think you get my idea. Waze is similar to Google Maps. It is an open source application. It runs on a little bit more platforms than Google Mobile, and it's quite popular. So if you go to the website of Waze, they say they have 36 million users end of 2012. In comparison to Google Maps, it also has an interactive component, so users can directly report, for example, speed traps, also from via the Waze map to Waze. Now we come to the protocol analysis. So the first thing what I've done was I have installed a normal packet sniffer on my rooted Android phone and collect all the outgoing traffic. And there were some packets which are suspicious because they go to this URL here. And if you look at it, so log, that probably means location, and mobile. But the problem was this S here, so it's using TLS and all the data is encrypted, so you can't read it. And the next thing, what I've done, I perform a man-in-the-middle attack using this tool here, Mitten Proxy. This is quite nice, written in Python. And use my Android 4 phone, install the root certificates from Mitten Proxy, can install on the phone, and you configure a system-wide proxy server so that all the traffic is routed over this Mitten Proxy command. So this is it's pretty standard. In Android 4, it was quite easy to perform this attack. I first tried on Android 2, and it was really horrible. But then I've worked on this a couple of months ago. So I just have Android 2 telephone, but then I have an Android 4 telephone. It was much more easier, especially if you want to install your own certificates on the phone. And you don't want to install only browser certificates. So then I've analyzed the packets. So this is screenshots from my first trials. And so you look at it and then you can read it, but it tells you, it tells nothing. So I don't know what to do. And the next step, I've looked in the Google sources to find something. but I couldn't find something. In the latest version, there were no code which is related to this location provider. Then I've looked in the internet and I found one of the first Android versions, 0.6 beta or so. I found it on one server in the internet, and actually at the first version they released this. This code was included in the sources, so I could find out that Google uses called MASF. So it stands for Mobile Application Sensing Framework, they call it this way. And I could figure out that the red part here, this is a MASF header. The protocol is a simple request-response protocol. So you send something to Google, and then you get a response message back from Google. Before I go a little bit more into the details of the protocol, just want to explain the Google protocol in a nutshell. So it works so that the smartphone sends Google the status information of the GPS, wireless, and mobile unit. And the data amount depends on the configuration of your mobile phone. So either if it's activated or not, or if maybe old phones, they don't have a GPS receiver, then of course no data from the GPS receiver can be transmitted to Google. And then you send the request message, sent to Google, and the response you get from Google contains, not always, but usually contains the approximate location of the phone. And the idea is this, like this win-win situation. So this, you send give Google the data, and you will get back the location of the phone. And if you then, for example, switch on Google Maps, want to determine your position, then it goes a lot faster than if you only use GPS, for example. This is how such MASF request message looks like. It's not so spectacular. So you have some fixed part. Then you have the name of the application. I will later can give you an example how it exactly look like. Then you have this strange cookie here, and two different types of blocks. So this is a plain block. This is quite not so easy to figure this out, because sometimes you get this message and sometimes you get this message. But if you look in the payload, then sometimes it contains a zip header. So it was quite obvious that that this is the zipped version. So if the payload size is over a specific threshold, the data is transmitted compressed. This is the response message. It's also not so spectacular. The only thing is you also have this ID field here, and this you also have in the request messages, and with this, these two messages are linked together. Now we look at the payload. Google uses protocol buffers to encode the payload. This is actually clear because the protocol buffers, this format was developed by Google. So that's the reason why they use it. And it's used to serialize data structure. For those who don't know, I've never heard about protocol buffers. it's a binary format, and it's optimized for high processing speed and data density. So Google says it's 30 to 100 times, I think, faster than XML. I don't know if this is the case, but it's a binary format, so it should be faster. Yeah, and the good thing is it's open source since July 2008. So you find a lot of libraries to pass, automatically pass this your protocol buffers encoded data. But you still have to describe or give this parser a format description. So it's not only that you can give this data to these parser engines and you get the data out of it. Yeah, the request message, as I've said, contains 0, 1 or more profiles from the mobile unit, Wi-Fi, and location unit. And it also contains a platform profile. And this platform profile, first it contains the name of the platform. So you find something like this. This is the firmware, contains the firmware of your Android phone. And what is quite important, especially for if you evaluate the privacy, is this platform key. And that is used as a pseudonym, and this can track your smartphone. As I've said, in the response message, find the current position if possible, and Google also give you the location of access points and radio towers around the location of your smartphone. And the response message can also contain a new platform key. So I've figured out if you send a request message to Google without this platform key, then Google is so nice and create a new one for you. So I've tried it with a fresh smartphone. So I just load up the firmware and bring it online, and then the first message contains no platform key, and then if you look then at the response message, it contains the missing platform key. Yeah, this is the description file for the protocol buffers parser. So it doesn't contain everything. It's just an excerpt what I've re-engineered, because the thing is so I had the sources of the first Android version, but it doesn't contain everything. So if you have a recent Android phone, Google added a lot of more stuff to it. So I've some parts are from the first Android version, and then a lot of stuff I've just re-engineered. So I cannot say to 100% that these are the correct values, but if you look at it, then it seems to be that these are the values. So, but the most important one is, of course, the platform key. And the response message, it's actually, as I've said, so it's the other way around. In the request message, you send information of your access of your Wi-Fi unit, and so to Google. And in the response message, you get back information, location information about the surrounding access points, Wi-Fi, radio towers, and so on. Yeah, the WAIS protocol, it's also a simple request response protocol. Source code is released under the GPL. Position data, the difference is transmitted in the clear. So it makes it quite easy, and TLS is only used for login. Also used with a proxy to record packets. Transmitted data is just an encoded ASCII string. And the protocol is quite simple. So you just log into Waze, then you get a server ID and a cookie from the server, and then all the next messages, the subsequent messages you send to Waze contain the ID and the cookie. So here's an example. So you have the server ID, the cookie, and then, for example, you have here a GPS path, which contains a bunch of locations. Now we come to the evaluation part. So I've visualized the information which is sent to Google. So it was in the night. I took the car and I drove. It's in the middle of Hamburg, and I drove this route here. So the dashed line here that comes from the GPS logger. It is also, besides a small tracking error, the track, which is the location information, which is sent to Waze. And this is blue and red circles. These are the measurement points sent to Google. So in this scenario, everything was switched on. So GPS was switched on and Wi-Fi was switched on. And I had two mobile phones, the same mobile phones, so run in parallel. So I drove this track here. So sometimes the gaps between these two measurements points are higher. That's not really deterministic. So it's, I don't know, sometimes it's sending faster location information. But one have to consider that, for example, here I was driving very fast, and here, for example, I was quite slow. So actually here's a very famous speed trap in Hamburg, so I have to go a little bit slower. This scenario was not so realistic because usually a GPS is switched off. But a lot of people leave wireless LAN on. Probably not you here in the audience, but a lot of people just leave it on. And so in this scenario, I'm living around here. This was a normal, or not a normal day in my life. So I live around here, and here's my work. And so I've started here. Then I took the commuter train, goes this way. And so it goes here, and here at this point I come out of the tunnel, so then it gets signaled, so I immediately send the current position to Google. And if you look at this position here, there's the institute where I'm working in, and there I've stayed a few hours. So these are the timestamp. And then I went back. Oops. So, but I didn't went home. I went to the University of Hamburg. So there's a library. I sit there. If you look at this location, and if you look at this location, then you could find out that there's the canteen of the University of Hamburg. So I eat something, and then I went back home. Yeah. So as I've said, so the platform key is generated by Google after the first start, but uniquely identify the phone and never changes. I don't know. So I tested a few days, weeks, and it always keeps the same. I try to reboot my phone and always keeps the same. Another observations I have made is you don't have to use Google Maps, so everything can be switched on off. No apps running on the phone. then every message has a sequence number for sequential ordering. If you use the Waze app, the Waze app sends a bunch of position data using this GPS pass message or field in the message, and could also send a single location to the Waze server. And because every message to the server contains this unique server ID, server cookie, and the server ID, so it's quite easy for Waze to relate the position data to your user account. What is actually a feature if you're using Waze, they want this, because then you can compare yourself with other people and say, like, I've drove, 20 kilometers, and the other one only drove 10 kilometers or so. Now we look at the other side, at the provider side, so at Google's side. So that's a picture from a highway cam. So the roads are clear. So usually in Hamburg there's a lot more traffic. What you can do is you can send fake data to the Google server to produce something, for example, like here. So we have sent some fake data to Google, and then you can manipulate the traffic flow analysis. The TLS tunnel ensures data integrity. But what happens if the old problem, if the attacker controls the beginning of the TLS tunnel? So as an attacker, you can randomly select a cookie, and the platform key is generated by Google, so it doesn't look really random. I don't know what it contains, but as I've said, you just send a request message to Google, which doesn't contain a platform key, and then Google is so nice and sends you a new platform key back. So the result of this is that the attacker can stay anonymous. So if you then think as an attacker, you can drive a route, collect data packets, and you can replay them later with changed timestamps. And you can think of by intensifying the attack, by using or by simulating several cars. You can add noise to the measured value. You can use different IP addresses, botnets or whatever. And so at the end, you can, as an attacker, you can achieve it that Google can't distinguish between real and fake location information. An attacker can make people drive into traffic jams or keep roads clear if traffic data is used for navigation. And the main important difference to the TMC attack, that you don't need special equipment for this. And another point is you can theoretically manipulate the traffic data worldwide. This attack scenario can also be applied to Waze, but it is a little bit more difficult, so to say, because it's always linked to a user account. But Waze offers the possibility to send anonymous data to them. But I don't know if they're really using it, because Waze is quite popular, I think, in the US or so, but in Germany, no one is using it. So I've checked a few days, I've checked Waze for Hamburg, and the Hamburg is a very big city, and there was really nothing. So I couldn't really try this out. This I think I will skip because it's obsolete. So when I've visualized the data points, and I've found it's not a bug or security, a privacy threat. Also, so there's a Google has this network location provider protocol where you can send the MAC addresses of your surrounding access points to Google, and then Google calculates the location for you. And there was this guy here, Sami Kamkar. He found out that you can only send one MAC address to Google, and then you get back the location of this access point. So then Google have fixed it, and I've then find out that, okay, you have to send 2 MAC addresses to Google, but the second one can also be an unknown access point. So if the access point is unknown, then Google will just will accept it and calculate the position of the access point, send it back, which Google knows. But yeah, we talked to the privacy commissioner in Germany, and yeah, this bug has been fixed by Google. So yeah, now yeah, what can you do to do it better? So I'm not a big fan of breaking everything and then say, yeah, I also want to try to find yeah, new solutions for problems. So as a repetition, so again, we have these 2 requirements. So first we have the privacy requirement. This is usually for the smartphone owner. If you have a smartphone, you're interested in a high degree of privacy. You don't want that Google can track you. And on the other side, you have the authenticity requirement by the provider like Google. So Google has an interest in the correctness of the data. So the data must be yeah, authenticated in some way. So you want to exclude malicious smartphones from the calculation of the traffic flow. And yeah, incorrect traffic data influences user navigation, and so this means then hackers can affect the traffic flow. Yeah, you might think, okay, that hackers can affect the traffic flow. I mean, today it is not really relevant because not so many people using Google navigation. But yeah, if you look at other solutions, other navigation systems from other vendors, they actually implementing the same concept, so that the car sending the current position to a provider, and then the provider calculates does the traffic flow analysis, and then send back the results to the navigation system, and then the navigation system will calculate a detour if there's a traffic jam or so. Yeah, I just want to give you a very roughly description how you can solve this, because it's quite relatively a lot of mathematics is needed for this. But I remove all the mathematics. Just want to show you the main concepts. I think this is more important. If you never heard about it, the solution is based on zero knowledge proof of knowledge. So what is a zero knowledge proof of knowledge? Zero knowledge proof of knowledge is a proof of knowledge, and the proof of knowledge, it's a proof between a prover and a verifier that a mathematical statement is true. And if the honest if the prover behaves honest, you always can convince the verifier, and if he's dishonest, he can't convince the verifier with overwhelming probability. A zero-knowledge proof of knowledge, it says it's a proof of knowledge where verifier obtains no further information from the prover other than the fact that the prover knows the solution of the underlying mathematical hard problem. So to give you an example, to understand how these proofs works, you can think of a server authentication, the user authentication to a server. So usually if you authenticate yourself to a server, you have a username and you have a password. So with the username, you say who you are, and with the password, you prove that you are who you claim to be. If you think about it, then for a lot of applications, you are actually sending more, you send more information to the server than necessary. Because on some privacy-related applitions, you only want to prove that you have access, nothing more. But you give a lot more information about you, because for example, you tell the server who you are, and this is additional information which is not needed. You only prove that you know the password, for example. The consequence of this zero-knowledge proof of knowledge is that protocol runs are unlinkable. So this means that you can do the proof today and you can do the proof tomorrow. And as I've said, so no information is transmitted to the verifier other than the fact that you know, for example, a secret value. So even if the verifier can't recognize you, he also can't say, okay, I don't know who you are, but I know that you are it was the same user, for example. And even this is not possible with these kind of protocols. So there are different applications. So it's not something which is very new. You find it in electronic cash, and there are a lot of research papers around that. During my research, I did some using this for smart metering. It was the scenario was quite the same. A few difference, but generally speaking, was the same. Yeah. So what is the idea of this solution? So the idea is to link the location information with tickets or one-time tickets. So you have two protocols, a GET dispenser protocol and a submission protocol. The GET dispenser protocol runs only once, and there how to say? So I would say like you put your pants off. So you authenticate yourself to the provider. You say who you are. You authenticate yourself, and at the response you get is so-called I call it a ticket dispenser. So like ticket dispenser you can think of as a soap dispenser, and you press the dispenser and the soap comes out. And this is a ticket dispenser, so you press it and then tickets come out. And so the smartphone has this ticket dispenser, and he could create his own tickets. And the cool thing about it, he can prove that this tickets he has created in the correct way. And he also proves that he has a valid ticket dispenser. And if you then give every ticket like a unique timestamp, so it's only valid in a fixed time slot, for example, every 50 minutes. You can restrict the number of data packets per time and per time slot and device. So here's a this nice figure explained how this works, the get dispenser protocol. So again, it is a user authentication. Then this ticket dispenser is negotiated between the provider and the smartphone. What is important is that only the smartphone knows the dispenser at the end. And then you do something, it's called, you can think of it's a hidden signature scheme. So you put this dispenser in a cryptographic commitment. A commitment is, if you don't know what a commitment is, you can think of it's a safe. So I always tell my students, think of it, it's a safe. So you can put something in it, then you close the door, and then you can, this commitment is sent to the provider, and the provider can sign the content of this safe without knowing what is he actually signing. And then the signature is sent back. So this is called the CL protocol, Kamenisch-Wysonskaya protocol. So this protocol runs only once, and then you have the submission protocol, and there you just you perform these the zero knowledge proofs. So you first prove in zero knowledge that you have a valid signature for the dispenser, and also the secret key is there. You also prove this. Then you create a new ticket for the current time interval, and then you also prove in zero knowledge that this ticket was correctly created. And of course, you send the ticket and the time interval or the timestamp and the position data to the provider. And then the provider puts this ticket and the timestamp, put it on a blacklist, so you can't, the smartphone can use it only once. So if he tries a second time, it wouldn't work because it will be detected by the provider. And he also couldn't, he could only, it is assured that he can only, the smartphone can only create a ticket or can use a ticket only every 50 minutes. So you cannot spam the provider with faked fake position data. I've implemented the protocol, and it's already today. It's quite practically. One have to say that this was a quick and dirty implementation, and yesterday I've optimized a lot of things, but I couldn't test it on the Android mobile phone. So these are the old values, so it goes a lot faster. And another cool thing is that you can pre-compute these tickets. So you can pre-compute these tickets, for example, in the background, or for example, if the battery is getting recharged. So this is also a nice property. Discussion. What I have to mention is that the data packets can always be linked by their IP address. That is a problem always if you use these this privacy preserving protocols, if you're not using a homomorphic encryption or so. But in general, this is of course always possible. But if you're getting disconnected, at least in Germany, it is so that the connection is getting disconnected after a few hours, then you get a new IP, and then there's no possibility for Google or for the provider to link these two transactions with different IP addresses, or you can use Tor, something like this. Yeah, the protocol can be extended, so this was just the first version of it. You can, which I doesn't really like, but you can, there's a possibility to identify misbehaving users. So if you send tickets too fast, then this could be detected. Yeah, you can limit the validity of the ticket dispenser. So I make the benchmark this was equivalent to 1024-bit RSA. So you can just force the users to re-authenticate themselves every week or so, and then you can change the keys or something like this. Yeah, now we come to the end of my talk. So yeah, I've evaluated the Google and Waze protocol regarding the privacy and authenticity requirement. I have shown that anonymity of the user is not assured, that user tracking is possible. Yeah, attackers can anonymously manipulate the traffic analysis and actively influence the navigation software. But yeah, I've also presented the first solution to increase the user's privacy, and at the same time makes attacks much more difficult. What I've already said during my talk, but it's definitely worth mentioning, so that these results can be also transferred to every other navigation system which uses real-time floating car data, because you always have the same problems. So the users, they want privacy, and the provider, the provider wants correctness of the data. Yeah, I can show you a small demo. It's not really a demo. So I don't know. So my results, I will put everything on probably on our on my website, so you can download it, and yeah, feel free to use it. So it's nothing special, but so these are, for example, this one route I have shown. So, and it gives you, prints out all the information which is included in this packets sent to Google. And and you can visualize it. Yeah, so this, can you see this? First, I want to show you the attack, which is a little bit more spectacular, but the problem is you need a lot of more time, because if you want to create a traffic jam, you must create a very small a car which moves very slow, so you can so this is a Perl script and support this, but you have to run it for I don't know, half an hour or so, and yeah. And actually, I'm not pretty sure if I can show this. I don't know. My boss told me no, I shouldn't do this. But yeah, I don't know. So I will put this on the on my web space. I don't know if I'll leave this attack part in it or not. Yeah, if you're interested and if you show me that you have a good heart, then I will send it to you. And yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. As you probably have heard, I should, you should fill out the Black Hat evaluation forms, and if you have some questions, then feel free to ask me. And yeah, thank you very much.